big picture thoughts on the debate. Nikki Haley, I thought Nikki Haley did phenomenal. I thought she was by far the best. I thought she did the best for herself. She packed a ton of substance into her. She didn't have the most time, but she packed substance into the time that she did have. She decided to talk to GOP voters as adults. She didn't sugarcoat the truth about spending, about the practicality of abortion policy. She got into just a little more specific detail, though not nearly as specific as I like. She got into a little more specific detail than the others on education. I think she gave a realistic foreign policy picture regarding Ukraine. I thought she did phenomenal. She was composed. She seemed tough. She was not rambunctious or obnoxious in any way. I thought she did phenomenal. Mike Pence, I thought Pence did well as well, but I just didn't love how aggressively he would talk. He would speak over others and the moderators. His answers were solid. I think Mike Pence on substance is phenomenal. I do think that the way he approached it probably did him some favors with some, but I just hate that kind of approach. And I do think that he showed GOP voters why they used to like him, right? He used to be very popular amongst, especially the more religious conservative base of the Republican Party, and now he's despised. But I think this debate, for the more open-minded people, hopefully made them see, oh yeah, that's why I used to like him. Ron DeSantis, I know that some thought that Ron DeSantis did fine, if not well, but I was not impressed with DeSantis. I thought everything that he said seemed robotic. I thought he seemed indecisive in many regards. His answers, I thought, very frequently lacked substance. But I've also never been impressed with DeSantis like others have. I thought he's done fine. I thought he was a really good governor for the state of Florida until his last year when he decided to embark on more culture war issues. But I've never had this, he's the next one in the Republican Party like others have. I've just never seen that. Vivek Ramaswamy, I left this debate with more just annoyance and antipathy towards Ramaswamy than I could have ever imagined. I think he lacks any substance whatsoever. I think he sounds confident and he sounds smooth when he says stuff, so people buy into it. But I don't think there is any substance to almost anything that he's saying. I think he's naive. I think it shows. I think his foreign policy, which again, I know I'm biased against to begin with because I am more hawkish, but I think he just has no idea how the world is going to work. He is naive and idealistic in a way that, very much so reminds me of Barack Obama. I know Chris Christie called him out on copying Barack Obama, and he even did it later in the debate as well, hearkening back to Obama. And I could not stand Obama. I thought Obama was nothing but a bunch of cliches with no actual substance. And the substance that was there, I disagreed with. I think that is Ramaswamy to a T. So I just left this debate just with more antipathy towards him than I could ever imagine. And then finally, Tim Scott. I'm not even going to talk about the others. Tim Scott, I thought just did awful. I liked Tim Scott. I thought before this debate that Tim Scott was one of the only other ones. I thought it was going to be Trump, DeSantis, or Scott were the only ones with a real shot to win the nomination, with Trump like heavily favored. I just don't think that's the case anymore. I think if anything, Haley took over that spot. I like Tim Scott. If it were up to me, Tim Scott would be vice president or something like that. I really think Tim Scott is solid, but he just did awful. He disappeared. He wasn't there. He just said nothing memorable. Almost everything he said was, politicians speak. He gave very little substance about anything. He talked about his biography, but his biography doesn't actually translate into policy. So how does your biography influence your policy, and what are those policies? Didn't talk about it. And granted, the debate format doesn't do him any favors. He's a happy warrior, as people call him, right? He's optimistic. He's nice. He really is likable. And that just doesn't bode well in a debate where you're meant to go after others. And I think he was trying to be the above the fray adult in the room, but instead he just came across as nobody. Just did not do anything to stand out.